Where we at, Jerry?
Dykes and strippers wiring. Had a car rewired. Show them what we got.
If you guys remember, this was all just had a bunch of harnesses and the way things were wired here. You can see in the before video here. Things nice and clean and labeled. All nice and pretty. Even in the back here, wired the whole back of the car.
You don't see that weight.
What weight? Give you a better view from the side of the total. Everything nice and neat and labeled, and so we know what we're up against and what wires are which. And
Pretty nice car before, except for the wiring. So now, once we fix all the body that we screwed up racing No Prep Kings all year, it'll be a nice car again.
so we'll be stuck with just on the street, huh?
Yep, we'll have two nice cars.
We'll get Jeff here to talk a little bit about how he did everything and what went into wiring this bad girl. Tell us a little bit about Jeff.
Hey guys, yep, Jeff Brandenburg from Dykes and Strippers Custom Wiring. Yeah, we've been around since 2001. A lot of people don't really realize that we've been around that long. But yeah, a little bit about Jerry's car. I know he was having some issues with burning up transmissions. It appeared that the trans brake was engaging after the car would leave the starting line. So sometimes to find gremlins like that, you just have to start over. So we completely gutted the car, took a perfectly good FT Fuel Tech FT600 harness, pro harness out, started over with a an unterminated harness, unterminated FT Spark harness, and built the harness to fit the car. Deleted a lot of the things that Jerry doesn't use, added a few things that he does. All in all, we've got 70-ish hours redoing the car. That was completely pulling apart the original engine side of the harness apart and cleaning it up and custom fitting it to his combo and putting that back together. One of the biggest issues that I found along the way was quite a few bad connections, and really it was just missing a dedicated ground. So we put a dedicated ground in the car and just went with what we've found over the years is the best, from experience, the best way to possibly ground a car, and that's what we've done. So I don't think if there's any more issues with this, it's not going to be wiring related. That's for sure.
Now we can't blame it on nothing else.
Can't blame it on anything.
If we get our ass kicked now, it's our own fault.
Although the wiring guy still gets the blame.
It turned out great. It looks good.
Oh, thank
We
you.
got a wiring guy we can call and say, hey,
Yep.
if this was a problem, what do we do?
Yep.
He prints you a schematic of the whole thing. I mean, we'll have a book.
Explain
on
that,
whatever
Jeff.
wire.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've always done with a car at this level is I build a
And when you come here, you get brownies. Last time it was chocolate chip cookies. This time it's brownies.
they're bacon. You're gonna have both.
You're gonna get your chocolate chip cookies too.
So we did some weight reduction on the wiring, but we're gonna put the weight back on Jerry.
Right here, I'm building the governor.
So yeah, one of the first things I start with is I have an Excel spreadsheet that I use that I start. A lot of guys will go in and pin map in the Fuel Tech or the Holly first and then wire off of that. I do things different. I put it on paper first. That way I can print it out, bring it out to the shop, scribble on it, make notes. And at the end of each session, if you will, when I'm wiring, I update that file. And I will print all this once I clean it up. I'll print it off. I'll mail a copy of it to Jerry or Ware. He's got the answer. If he can't find the answer, he can call me, text me. I have it on my phone. I can pull it up and I can answer questions about what I did, where I did it. I also document every car with pictures. So I can pull up that build sheet. I can pull up a picture. If Jerry calls me up and says, hey, I need a connector for this spare or whatever, I can pull it up in a picture real quick and tell him exactly what wire went where if I don't have the build sheet. So we definitely document with photos. We document with just a build sheet file, and everybody gets a copy.
For those of you who don't know, having a wiring guy that you can call and ask him what could be causing this or that, and having all that is worth as much as having the car rewired. Before, we had nobody to call the people that wired the car. I don't even have a contact for him, and I'm sure he probably didn't have a clue what wire went where anywhere, you know, after 3 years. So I think that's going to be a big asset to us right there. And we made a good friend out of the deal.
Yep, absolutely.
I always kind of convince him to go to Florida.
We'll talk about it.
I mean, I see he's got a nice motorhome over there. I mean, it's got room for some tools and wire.
Yep.
Well, time to load her up,
It
and
would just be nice to have both of them wired at the same place, you know what I mean?
Right.
Instead
Absolutely.
of trying to go, I'd rather deal with one person than two.
Yeah, and that's the, you know, if the combos are relatively the same, we can,
Identical.
obviously I would pin map it exactly the same. That way everything's universal, interchangeable. That's one of the other reasons why when we know there's a multiple car team coming, that you'll build one to build the other and make them match.
The only thing the new car will have that this one don't, well, it'll have turbo sensors and this and that, but we got the shocks that we're gonna dump air on. So
Okay.
there's gonna be a Mac valve that we're gonna trigger somewhere. And
Okay.
that would be the only thing I know of at this time. That's where all our trouble started. When we put them shocks on, we started trying to activate the Mac valve to dump the air, and then we started noticing the trans brake coming on, and we thought it was something we did trying to hook up that Mac valve, because we took the wires from this external dump and was trying to use them because it's through mechanical injection timer. We were trying to use that to manipulate the Mac valve to dump the air, which will work.
Yep.
But then we started noticing the transmission was getting super hot and this and that, and got to watching the video and seeing the reverse lights coming on. That's when we noticed we were having a problem. So we thought it was self-inflicted.
And it could have been, because one of the things, like, you know, I'm not partial to any one system. I'm a wiring guy. I'll do a Holley, Haltech, Fuel Tech. It doesn't matter to me, whatever the customer brings to me. The greatest thing about the Fuel Tech is the fact that you can test all the inputs and outputs before it ever leaves, or before you ever actually try to power things up. But Fuel Tech, you do have to be mindful of which output you're using, whether it's the blues, the grays, or the yellows, on how you're switching the power piece of it to the device. That's the one thing that you want to do all the time, is at least have that, you know, the 12-volt supply switched. That way you don't have that backfeed issue.
Well, we were smart enough to go back and delete everything we had done, so we know that wasn't the issue. But that's where and when it all started. So we ended up taking them shocks off the back. We don't need them for the street anyway, and building a new car now. All that stuff will go in that new car.
speaking of which, we probably better load up and
We're gonna try to get to Georgia tonight.
drive to Georgia tonight and go to Fuel Tech and
Hours probably.
Proline, and then head down to Cameron's, check out the new car.